You want to become a monopoly?
Why wouldn't you want to become a monopoly? That's where all the...
Yeah, I'm just curious.
That's when business becomes the most interesting.
At some point you went to Dan Peña's Castle seminar.
Yeah, his assistant replies back, sorry, sold out already. The voice in my head said, go to Dan Peña, try again. Different strategy. So I called her. Her name is Winneke. Winneke, Mitchell here. I messaged you like 1 month ago. You told me the Castle seminar was sold out. I'm going to build you a statue in my living room and I'm going to pray to my statue every day. She's like, you got 30K? Yes, I have it. Everyone or almost everyone within the crypto space has a lottery mentality. They're bipolar, basically. The market is bipolar.
Yeah, unfortunately you cannot mention that in an advertisement. Hey, are you bipolar into crypto?
No, you can't.
That would probably resonate with them.
This quote from Pablo Picasso, good artists copy, great artists steal.
You are definitely the OG in the Netherlands. I was copying your shit back in the day a little bit.
Nice.
Welcome, Mitchell, the $10 million crypto Bitcoin mining man.
Yes, thanks for having me, man. Nice to be here.
All right, so you have a pretty interesting story because you got started into more like make money online, coaching / courses.
Yeah.
And then you transitioned into Bitcoin mining, selling that to other people. Can you tell us a little bit about the product / service that you're delivering right now?
Yeah, sure. So what we do is, most people have heard those success stories of people that have made millions with Bitcoin mining. And when I did my research a few years ago, I thought I already missed the boat. That this was something that, was interesting 15 years ago when Bitcoin just got launched and you could still mine Bitcoin from your computer. Nowadays, you need specialized hardware. And there's a lot of big players in the market which are very active and they're making a lot of money, but it's very inaccessible to the average Joe, for the average investor. So I saw an opportunity in bridging the gap between Bitcoin mining and the average investor. So when I created Epic Mining 4 or 5 years ago, I created a plug-and-play system so that anyone can basically get started with mining. So our goal is to make mining easy, accessible, and profitable for the average investor.
Yeah, let's walk them a little bit through the process, right? I also bought some miners. So first of all, they can buy the miners through you.
Yeah.
Then you ship them to Ethiopia, you connect them to the electricity grid, and that's pretty much it, right?
So in marketing, we always make a distinction between the old way that doesn't work and the new way.
Yes.
So the old way is mining Bitcoin at home. So if you want to mine Bitcoin at home, you need to buy specialized hardware. That hardware, you need to have reliable suppliers. Out there on the internet, there are a lot of web shops. A lot of them are scams. You transfer money to them and you'll never, ever hear anything back. Unfortunately, it is the crypto industry, so that stuff happens. But even if you find the right suppliers and you manage to ship them to your house, those machines, then you need to install them, manage them, maintain them. They produce a lot of heat. It's like 80 degrees Celsius. So there's even stories of people in Finland that power their saunas with mining equipment. They also make a lot of noise. So you just don't want to have these machines at home. But let's say that you like the heat and you like the noise, then you're probably not going to like the electricity bill that you need to pay on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
So, what is a new way? So how were we able to still make this interesting for the average investor? Well, we have built multiple data centers or mining farms across the world. My first one was in Kazakhstan 5 years ago. And I received many questions from people that asked me like, hey, how can I also start with mining Bitcoin? So after receiving this question for 30, 40, 50 times, I decided to organize a Zoom call. I invited everyone. There were like a few hundred people on the call. I told them like, hey guys, instead of you trying to do everything at home, probably losing a ton of money, let me just buy the machines for you. We already have the right suppliers. We know what machines are the most profitable right now. We ship them to our mining farm. We connect everything. We install them. We manage them. And you can simply lean back and watch the automated payouts hit your wallet. apparently that offer was well received. That's how we got our first few hundred clients for Epic Mining. Now we have hundreds of clients all around the world, ranging from people that have one machine all the way to clients that have more than 300 machines. So yeah, that's been a really interesting journey.
Yeah, just to circle back so we make sure the listeners and viewers get this right. The electricity bill, if you're in the US or in the Netherlands, will be 5 to 10 times higher than if you would do it in Kazakhstan, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why you want to go to a different location to make sure, hey, the electricity bill is there, the return is there. And then what kind of returns are you seeing per year? Like
per year, it really depends on the price of Bitcoin. The easiest analogy to explain this is mining gold. Whenever you're going to mine gold, you need to make 3 investments. You're going to invest in people, land, and equipment. And through those 3 investments, you're able to produce gold below its market value. And if the price of gold is higher than your production costs, you're going to make a profit.
Yeah.
The same is true with Bitcoin mining. But with Bitcoin mining, you're investing in machines that turn electricity into Bitcoin. So your 2 biggest costs are the machines and electricity. So because we buy hundreds of machines every single month, we're able to negotiate the best possible prices for machines. And likewise, because we have 80,000 machines under management, we're able to negotiate the price of electricity down as well. So as a result, we can still mine very profitably, whereas if you would try to do it yourself, you would probably lose a lot of money.
I think by now they get that. We just want to get some juicy numbers. Like what was the best year in terms of like return?
It depends, Robin. It depends when you're going to cash out your Bitcoin.
Not giving me juicy numbers here, guys. But it's definitely more than 10 to 20%.
Oh, yeah, a lot more. No, you can't, like traditional investments can't compete with this model. For example, stocks, real estate, bonds. No, this is something that can generate a lot higher returns, of course.
As long as you stay in it for 1, 2, 3 years, then you're getting a lot higher returns.
The whole thing about any crypto investment is it's cyclical, right? You've got seasons. And whenever you're entering such an investment, you need to be willing to stay in the market, or you need to be willing to hold on to your investment for at least 4 to 5 years. Because within those 4 to 5 years, you're going to have a bear market and a bull market. And the price doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is when you're going to sell your Bitcoin. That's the only moment the price of Bitcoin matters, because then that's when you realize your actual profit. So we make different forecasts of what these machines can generate. And depending when you cash out your Bitcoin or what scenario, I mean, it can range from, 10% to 600+%, but over a time frame of 4 years.
Yeah. Got it. Let's not go too much into there because it's not a crypto podcast. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the marketing. So before that, you helped other people start like their own Amazon business, but then in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into the details there. And then you transitioned into a more, like I would say, sophisticated buyer, like more like towards investors.
Yeah.
What were the biggest differences that you noticed, or the changes that you made going from selling to how to make money online to selling on an investment opportunity?
Yeah, so in 2017, I sold an Amazon FBA-like offer in the Netherlands. When you're selling these kinds of e-com offers, oftentimes the audience that you'll attract are like late teenagers, like 18, 19, 20. A lot of people in their 20s, some people that are a bit older than that. But I felt like everyone was at the start of their journey. You know, you're helping people to get started from their first dollar online to 10K per month, more or less, which was really nice to do for a few years. But after a while, I felt like I was growing a lot personally, on an entrepreneurial level, but the type of people that I was helping was the exact same. I was always helping starters. So for me, at one point, I also I didn't get inspired a lot anymore by my audience at the time. I still loved the work that I was doing, but it wasn't inspiring. Now, later I realized that the higher the level of your customer is, so now we're dealing with a lot of really high net worth individuals that have built really insane companies, great exits. They've built up massive portfolios. And these are people that they're willing to wire a few €100,000 or dollars to your bank account, and they respect your time. The thing is with those beginners, they invest 1,000 or 2,000 and they spam customer support with questions about everything. They basically want you to do the work for them. And with these high net worth individuals, they understand the value of time and energy, and they are willing to outsource it to an expert and trust the person to do their work. So now, we've got hundreds of high net worth individuals all around the world, and I really enjoy working with this audience a lot more than the previous one.
Yeah, and if you go a little bit more into specifics, like with the beginner audience, you really sell them the dream, the outcome, the result. Oh, make your whatever, 3K a month, 10K a month.
Yeah.
And with the investment audience, it's more, I guess, educating and like modeling. You're not making any hard promises, do you?
No, not at all. You see, you're totally right. With e-commerce offers, I wasn't the face of the company. The previous company that we built from 0 to 8 figures plus in the e-com space was someone else. But yeah, indeed, we showed a lot of lifestyle content, which really triggered that audience. Now, I rarely show any lifestyle content. In fact, I told my team members, guys, I just want to create boring content, but content that really creates value. I don't want to focus on shiny object syndrome. I don't want to, make videos driving around in Lamborghinis or yachts or flying first class, because that is the thing with this audience. If I show that kind of lifestyle content, it backfires, because they believe if I have such an expensive lifestyle, they're paying me too much.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, what I started realizing at some point is with those two audiences that the richer audience, they don't really like all these crazy edits, right?
No.
We've been told like, oh, you need to spike the dopamine and blah, 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 right? That works for the younger, make money online people. But the older people, they just want to like get good education. They go crazy if they see a bunch of edits because they think it's a scam.
Yeah.
It's really on the other side of the spectrum. So it's more about actual education.
Yeah.
And if you're over-promising there, I heard a funny joke from a German who said, like, if you tell a German that they can make 5 to 10% per year, they think it's a scam already.
Yeah.
So he's just over-promising. Even returns can backfire there and make your marketing less efficient.
I think that's really important, what you're mentioning. Oftentimes when we have sales conversations or webinars or any other type of marketing or sales activity that we're doing, we almost we're very transparent about everything, the risks. We also tell them like, guys, if you want this or that, this is not for you, or if you're expecting this or that, it's not for you. Like, we disqualify a lot of people, but automatically it attracts the right type of person that has the money, that is interested in this investment, and that has considered all of the risks involved.
Yeah, it's really almost opposite of what you would be doing.
Yeah.
With the make money online audience, you would almost not want to show them any downsides or anything that they make them doubt themselves.
Yeah.
And
but it's because this audience is a lot smarter.
Yeah.
In the sense that if you promise them something that's too good to be true, then that's going to be the objection, right? No, this sounds too good. It's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, whatever, I don't trust it. And for me, honestly, it feels a lot better to be just super transparent about everything, It gives me a good feeling. I've told them everything they need to know. Now it's just up to them to make a decision. And if they want to start, great. If they don't want to start, fine. I hope at least they learned a lot by hopping on the sales call or listening to the webinar. And I know that this is something that people within the guru space say, but I genuinely mean it. Probably if this person decides that he doesn't want to buy, then probably we were really not a fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference with people who get started, right? They are so scared that you almost need to push them, and it might be a good thing because after that they took action. But if you push an investor and then he's like calling you every minute, then your customer support will go crazy, and that will also and he will probably leave a bad review. And
Yeah.
then it will not be some one-star Trustpilot review, but he will analyze your whole business and create a sophisticated YouTube video.
Yeah.
like demolishing every part of your business. So that's also the downside with those smart guys.
Yeah.
Now, you are in the crypto space, Bitcoin mining, which means that advertising is a little bit harder. It is possible, but let's not talk about that, because what's inspiring and cool about your story is that you figured out a way to do it without advertising.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, first we'll talk about how you did it, and then later on we can talk about the webinar.
Yeah.
What was your process like with like reaching out to people and just making this work organically?
Yeah. So I think the biggest asset that anyone has is trust, right? In my previous company, we were one of the first ones in the make money online space. We completely pioneered the space. And people have been following me or us, me and my previous partners. And they know that when I do something, I generally have put a lot of thought into it, a lot of research, trying to figure out how it works. So when I launched my new company, Epic Mining, a lot of my previous customers simply joined this company because they just trusted me. Even if it was not Bitcoin mining and I launched something else, they would have probably just bought into it because they trusted me as a person.
Yeah.
Now, this is great when you're doing sales, but I used it in a different way. So I know a lot of people within the make money online space that have really great communities, email lists, and everyone wants to make money. So if you have a good offer that is complementary to what they're offering, but doesn't compete, nobody likes to promote a competing offer. I don't compete, I offer something completely different than almost everyone else. So I basically approached some of my friends in the same space, and I told them, like, guys, I have something interesting, an offer that converts, and would you be willing to do a JV partnership with me? So I'm going to make everything, the opt-in page, the emails, I'm going to give the presentation, I'll do the follow-up, literally everything. It's a complete, plug and play. I give you the link. The only thing you need to do is push some traffic to this URL so that we get some people that sign up. I did this with a few people, and the results were really amazing. So when you get really great results with these affiliate webinars, it becomes really easy to do more affiliate webinars, right? You build a track record. So every month I just do a bunch of affiliate webinars, and that's how I've grown my customer base mainly. We also grow a lot based on referrals. So every third customer brings us another customer out of their network. We don't even promote an affiliate deal to our customers, but they just ask us, like, hey, I've got more people in our in my environment. Can they also become a customer? Or what if I refer them to you? Can we do something about it? Yeah.
Cool. And can you give some examples? I guess like a dropshipping coach, investment coach. What kind of partners have you been working with? Different niches.
Crypto education, dropshipping education, real estate education, stock market, coaching, mainly those.
What was the best one?
Crypto education.
Crypto education, makes sense.
It makes sense because there's a big overlap between our audiences.
That makes sense. And the way you were doing that was mainly through webinars, right?
Yeah.
Live webinars.
Always through webinars.
Did it start converting from scratch, from when you just started, or was it like a little bit of a process?
I have been doing this webinar for 4 years, and I've tested a lot during those 4 years. And that's something I learned in my previous company, the Ecom education platform. We did a webinar every Thursday for 9 months straight, and there was no excuse. And after 9 months, we had one conversion beast. This webinar was performing so super well. And I've been doing exactly the same for the past 4 years with this webinar. Of course, crypto is a bit cyclical, so you can't always get the best results because Investors within the crypto space are very emotional. When the market drops, it has an effect on your conversion. When the market goes up, it also has an effect on your conversion. So I try to time my affiliate webinars during periods where there's a lot of greed in the market, and that generally tends to work well. And when I have affiliates that, we've gotten good results together, oftentimes they're willing to repeat it a few times throughout the year. So I have a few really great partnerships, and that gives me my baseline sales.
Got it. And what kind of tests/experiments have you done? Do you remember any split test with your webinar that really made a huge difference? Or
Yeah. Back in the days, our webinar was a 350 slide presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was doing those very long presentations. And I feel like when everyone does it in a particular way, it often pays off to do it the exact opposite way. So at one point, I decided to delete my slide deck. And the way that I do it right now is just like this, in a podcast setting. So I've got my mic, I've got my cam there, and I'm just talking to my audience. Of course, it's not scripted, but I've got a framework in mind every single week. I'm following the same framework. I make some small tweaks, but just me talking to the camera, not hiding behind slides, being really authentic. I believe that really helps for my conversions, especially because it's a high, you could almost say ultra high ticket offer, because we're selling almost up to $1 million per deal. But the fact that they see me as a real person, also making some mistakes when I'm on Zoom, I believe it's almost like being on live TV. It doesn't have to be perfect. When you see some character flaws, it makes it more relatable. So yeah, that has made a big impact for me.
Any other?
Yeah, I'm just thinking if this is interesting for non-crypto people. But for me, the biggest insight that I had is Bitcoin mining is an absolute no-brainer when people believe that Bitcoin is going to increase in value over time.
Yeah.
So basically 70% of the webinar is just having them repeat what they're believing about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And when the whole chat is saying that their price prediction is that Bitcoin is going to go to 150K to 250K, then basically everyone is in consensus that Bitcoin mining is a no-brainer. So when the group totally agrees with that on the Zoom call, my job is done. Then It was a great webinar.
Yeah, so that's now your big ID/team of the webinar.
Yeah.
If they believe that Bitcoin mining, or like Bitcoin will go up, then the mining is an easy argument.
Yeah.
Which you can explain probably in 5 minutes then. It's like, hey, you don't have to trade, you don't have to look at it, a bunch of other benefits, and then you got it done.
You could explain it in 5 minutes. Although, if I would explain it in 5 minutes, I believe my conversions would be way lower.
So how much time do you spend now on the...
2.5 hours.
2.5? Every webinar is 2.5?
2.5 hours.
How many minutes or hours are Q&A at the end?
15.
15 minutes. You could do a little bit longer there, but...
That's only needed if you haven't answered all of the questions in the webinar. So I make people a promise when I start the webinar. Guys, I'm not going to leave this webinar unless you all know how Bitcoin mining works and that you can explain it in very simple words to your friends, your family members, your mom, your aunt. So yeah, after 2.5 hours, there's no more questions.
15 minutes. Okay, so how much do you talk about like Bitcoin then?
The first hour.
Like an hour, okay.
The first hour is Bitcoin. Half an hour after that, explaining Bitcoin mining, the ROI. Then going into the risks. Then the application process. Finally, a few comments about why we are mining in the locations where we're based.
Yeah.
And then, 15 minutes of Q&A.
That's a monster webinar, 2.5 hours. That's crazy.
It's a monster webinar.
Can you go a little bit more in depth on the structure? Like you start with, I guess, a little intro and you make your promise. And then you start explaining what Bitcoin is and you start looking into the news and see clear. What are you doing? You're like... Without doing 2.5 hours here on the spot, of course.
It all comes down to my personal investment philosophy. I really clarify that I never want anyone to invest in something that they don't really understand. So when I ask them, like on the webinar, guys, who can explain me in simple words what Bitcoin mining exactly is and how it's possible that people are making money with it? Are they just printing Bitcoin out of thin air, or is there some kind of fundamentals behind it? And then you start to create some kind of discussion, right? I break it down into something very super simple that anyone understands. You know, I use a lot of analogies because in the world of crypto and blockchain, the way that these projects all make money is they make a landing page and they jam that landing page with buzzwords, AI, Web3.
Everybody does AI nowadays.
And then people within the crypto space, you know, they talk buzzwords with each other, but no one really has a clue about what's going on. So when there's someone on the Zoom call like me that is able to translate this complex world into something really understandable that anyone can understand, it builds a lot of trust. So I spent a lot of time, so 1 hour, making it super simple, showing them diagrams, showing them visuals, drawing some stuff out, and then afterwards, they literally all understand how it works. So I could explain it in 5 minutes, but then
of course.
it doesn't really work.
That's funny with all the buzzwords and nobody understands what's going on. That's really typical for the crypto industry. Would you say there's a lot of like crypto people in your webinar, or would you say it's mainly people who are just looking for passive income, investing, or?
Good question. So what I realized is, I mean, what do you consider crypto people?
I mean, I would say nowadays meme coin people. Do you have a lot of meme coin people in your webinar?
What do you call meme coin people? Are you a meme coin person when you have $100 in meme coins, $500, $10K, $100K?
I would say it's less about the amount, but more about like they just want to go times 100. Right?
Okay. What I realized is when I ask people on a webinar, like, guys, are you invested in crypto? Everyone will say yes. Mm-hmm. But of course, when you have $50 in crypto, you're invested in crypto. And some people will say, oh yeah, man, I'm balls deep in crypto. And then you ask them, okay, how big is your portfolio? Yeah, $100. Okay, you're a rookie, but doesn't matter. Yeah, in bull markets, everyone thinks they're a genius because the whole market goes up.
Yeah.
And yeah, the level of meme coin investors, or the extent of meme coin investors that show up, they're very high. But that is very indicative of the mindset that people have within the crypto space. Everyone, or almost everyone within the crypto space, has a lottery mentality. Basically, they throw a little bit of money left and right at different investments or different assets, just like they would, buy 20 different lottery tickets and hope that one of them will make them a multimillionaire overnight. That's basically the philosophy that every crypto investor has. So I reverse that on the webinar. I say, I've done that 7 years ago. I was exactly where you are right now, and I lost a whole bunch of money. And statistically, most people do lose a lot of money like this because 95% of all altcoins will not survive the next bear market. And if you don't cash out in time, you might think you're special, but you're not going to cash out in time. Then you're probably going to have to wait 4 years to recover, if it recovers at all. So my investment philosophy is like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, whenever you're doing some research, you'll realize that his 2 rules for investing is don't lose money, and rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So I'm very conservative. I keep reinforcing on the webinar, guys, I'm very conservative. I don't like to take a lot of risks. I like to minimize my risks and make a bit of money along the way. And people like it because everyone within the crypto space promises them 100x, 1000x. I don't. I am realistic, transparent. I show the upside and the downside, and then it's up to them to make a decision or not.
Got it. So, but to come back to the original question, if the market is good, you get a lot of meme coin people, and if the market's a little bit less good, then you
Not
get...
necessarily. It's just
Okay.
crypto
It's
investors
always
in general. Crypto investors are just emotional. When they wake up in the morning, their portfolio is in the plus. They become super greedy. They want to do some more stuff. When their portfolio is in the red, they are upset, angry. They thought they already missed the top and maybe they should cash out now before everything goes to zero. Like they're just going all over. They're bipolar, basically. The market is bipolar. Every morning you wake up, they can be a totally different person.
Yeah, unfortunately, you cannot mention that in an advertisement. Hey, are you bipolar into crypto?
No, you can't.
That would probably resonate with them. Although they are probably not aware that they are bipolar. But all right. So one of the bigger challenges or objections into you selling the product is that it's not like there, right? Nowadays, with shipping in the Netherlands, you get it the next day or even in the evening. Now, with Bitcoin mining, they get the machine, or you buy the machine for them, and most time you buy it in bulk. So it's also not like, oh, you buy it, tomorrow and it ships the next day. Yeah. So it takes a little bit more time. Let's say days, weeks, depending on what's going on. How do you deal with that? Or like, is it that more like sophisticated, intelligent people kind of understand it? Like they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. I don't need to make money now. I don't want to go 100x in the next week anyways. So is that like an objection that you feel is an issue? Like that it takes a little bit of time before they go live?
Not at all. It's really all about expectation management. So when you expect that the machine is going to go online tomorrow, but it takes 90 days, then you're going to be angry, frustrated. But we say it's going to go online within the next 90 days or should be online within the next 90 days. And oftentimes, because now we buy a lot of machines in bulk and we pre-finance them, they're probably online a lot earlier, 4, 5, 6 weeks. And then you over-deliver. It's like, oh, I thought it was going to be 90 days, but the machines are online already. Okay, boom, positive Trustpilot review.
Yeah. Do you have a process for that to get Trustpilot reviews?
Yes. So every time a customer needs to pay their first energy invoice, we give them a call. We walk them through the whole process. We ask them like, hey, did you enjoy the experience so far? We know that you're starting out right now. But if you enjoyed your experience, our communication, then do us one favor, leave us a Trustpilot review. It will be greatly appreciated. And they
nice. And then you get the most Trustpilot reviews of them all.
Yep.
Now, what you mentioned there, the whole customer support part is pretty important. I guess also in the first 90 days and after that. But it seems like it's quite a lot of work, right? Like you have all these machines that you are pre-financing, sending there, going through customs. Then I guess you also have to check all the electricity bills, all that kind of stuff. Like, do you have like a system for that or an accountant? Or that seems like the most complicated part of your business, to be honest.
I've got a really great operations manager. No, let's dissect it a little bit. The management of the farm is a beast. We've got 80 different staff members that are constantly overlooking the entire operation, making sure that...
In Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, Siberia, different locations, exactly. So there's a lot of technical staff members that are overlooking the entire operation, making sure that everything is running. Then we have the customer-facing team that is indeed doing the billing, the customer support, the sales. There are a lot of moving parts. We had to create our own custom-coded systems, also integrating that with some existing out-of-the-box tools, CRMs, email marketing programs. But yeah, there's a lot of complexity behind the scenes. And my best team members, I hijacked them away from other really great companies. They weren't necessarily looking for jobs, but I made them irresistible offers.
What kind of companies did you steal them from?
Funds.
Funds.
Yeah. So my operations manager used to work with hedge funds. He used to set up hedge funds. Those A players, when you give them the proper guidance, proper leadership, and you give them more and more responsibility, A players can take a lot of heavy lifting away from you. Last week I was in Ethiopia. I was offline the whole week because I was in the mining farm. My team took care of everything. We actually had one of the best sales weeks. So, yeah, great team members, great systems.
But you have some custom coded stuff to monitor all of that stuff.
We built custom coded stuff for sure. Like there's a lot of workflows that we custom coded.
Yeah, that's what
Otherwise, it would not have been possible to manage all of this.
Yeah, you would like be losing money and not notice it, and vice versa. Like
I know some people that tried to copy our business, but it's like the iceberg, right? Like there's just a very small tip below the surface of the water that's visible. But indeed, like all of the custom systems that we've built in the back end that allow us to surface such a big customer base and do it in a efficient way. That's what allows us to deliver this at scale.
Yeah. Talking about scale, where do you want to go with this? I understand that maybe you have some ideas and these are not your final ideas, but what is a little bit your vision or your idea where you want to go with this?
Yeah, the way that what I really like about the business that I'm building right now is a lot of entrepreneurs. Always when I'm having dinner with other entrepreneurs, even successful entrepreneurs, they're always chasing the next shiny object. Even if they've built a successful company after 2-3 years, at one point they get bored because they're not challenged anymore.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna do some kind of side business, and then ultimately they get dragged into more shit than they realize, and it all suffers. And I went through this process a few times. I would say shiny object around 2-3 times. I learned my lesson. And now with Epic Mining, I made a commitment that I'm willing to focus 10 years fully dedicated on this, getting 1% better every single day. And I believe this can easily be a 9-figure plus business within the next 1 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm. And if you get it to that level, is there anything that you're going to change from the operations perspective? You think you can get the cost for machines down? Do you want to start your own manufacturing?
No, manufacturing is... that would be a shiny object syndrome for me, to go into manufacturing, because then you're going to compete with Chinese multi-billionaires.
No manufacturing for you.
With backing of the Chinese Communist Party to get free or cheap labor. No, you can't compete with that. That's impossible. But yes, we can further bring down the cost by achieving even higher or bigger economies of scale, right? Because we've got so many machines under management, we can already get really great deals. But of course, the bigger you get, the better the deals that you can get. But if you're operating at such a high, such a big scale, it doesn't, you go through phases. The first phase with this kind of company is you need to figure out sales and marketing. But when you figured out sales and marketing, then suddenly you're selling a lot of machines every single month, but then it becomes a logistical challenge. The logistical challenge becomes, how am I going to get the machines online the fastest? How am I going to maintain all of the machines, operate the whole mining farm? And then the next phase is a financial challenge. So if you want to operate at scale, then you need to be willing to make very big down payments, because oftentimes the big profits can be made whenever you're willing to finance something up front. So very big amounts of machines or infrastructure. And probably at that point, we might need to raise funding. I'm very proud that up to this point, everything is completely bootstrapped. We're a super financially healthy company. But if you're willing to go from, 9 figures to 10 figures, then you probably need to raise money.
Yeah, it's crazy how Rockefeller did all that himself and bought like all the the refineries himself but he even also borrowed a lot.
He used debt, right?
Yeah,
you must use debt or seller financing, where the seller lends you the money.
But he was putting all the money back, buying more and more and more and more and more. That's also kind of part of your plan.
Consolidation.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't consolidate because there are not...
I mean, you want to buy more so you can get the economy of scale and keep going like that. Maybe you want to get some contacts in China so you can get some cheaper deals there.
There you go. Yeah, we have those contacts. We have those
locations, I guess, for risk reversal.
Yes.
India, China.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's almost like... so what did those tycoons like Rockefeller do or Carnegie? They built monopolies.
Yeah.
So you need to be the biggest fish in the pond, basically. You need to be the shark, the whale, whatever. So, I mean, up till now, we've been doubling every year. This year, I hope to triple because it's a bull market year. However, yeah, if we continue on this path, then there is a big likelihood that we're going to go towards such a path.
You want to become a monopoly?
I mean, why wouldn't you want to become a monopoly? That's where all the...
Yeah, I'm just curious.
that's when business becomes the most interesting.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, some people, they are okay with a certain amount of money and then they don't have to become a monopoly. So that's why I was curious. But that will be... And that will be it.
One thing that we haven't touched is if you want to operate at such a big scale, Carnegie or Rockefeller, they build a monopoly in the USA. That's one market, one government you need to deal with, one set of laws and regulations. We are operating farms in different countries across the world, which are constantly changing and in flux. So there's different things that we need to take into account. Of course, operating in all of these different countries gives us a lot of opportunities to take the best resources or the best opportunities in each of these areas, but it also creates complexity that many other businesses don't have to worry about, but we have. But I believe that the opportunities are in those places where 99% isn't willing to look at, such as Ethiopia, where we're mining right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess also a lot of like what happens to electricity and solar panels and all that stuff, that's also really going to influence what you can do, right? Because the more efficient solar panels become, putting a bunch of them in
forget it.
No,
not
not
gonna
solar
mine
panels.
with solar panel. No. I'm
nuclear
sorry.
energy.
Yes, nuclear energy is going to be insane. Yes,
Yeah.
no, that's going to be a massive game changer for mining. But solar panels, I get the question so often like, hey, I've got a bunch of solar panels, I've got free electricity at home, can I also use them to mine
I didn't
Bitcoin?
mean that. I didn't mean that.
Even here in the UAE, they have they built a $600 million solar farm for mining.
Yeah.
But they have economies of scale, of course.
Yeah, no, that was my point, right? Like there's so much desert.
Yeah.
Like if the efficiency of solar panels goes up, at some point it might be an interesting investment. Although I know the numbers, nuclear still outperforms.
The biggest problem with solar is you need to have battery technology.
Yeah.
So the battery technology is very expensive because your solar panels will only generate energy during the day and you need to store it in the evening as well. Or you need to power your machines in the evening as well. So
no solar.
No solar.
No
Nuclear.
Solar, no wind, nothing clean.
At this point, nuclear is clean.
No. I mean,
okay, right.
Nuclear
wind,
in the middle. Yeah.
So wind and solar, forget about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to mine Bitcoin with that.
Yeah.
Hydro, amazing. You've got one country called Bhutan. Bhutan, very interesting country. So oftentimes when you look at how big an economy is, you look at the GDP, gross domestic product, the total economic output of a country. Bhutan once said, like, guys, we don't want to measure the success of the country by GDP. We only have gross happiness product. They look at how happy everyone is. Funny story. Anyways, they have used their sovereign wealth fund, the capital of their sovereign wealth fund, to build mining farms in the mountains, and they're mining Bitcoin like crazy. They've mined around 14,000 Bitcoin right now, and they keep on mining more and more and more. So they're a really great case study for a country that is adopting Bitcoin mining on a large scale.
Got it.
And making a ton of money along the way.
Without sharing that they're making a bunch of money. Yeah, no, I mean the clean thing was more like not the traditional clean things. Like I think I'm not gonna say anything here whether nuclear is clean or not because we don't want any hate in the comments. Although that would be probably good for the algorithm. But at least it's cleaner than oil. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean nuclear. We'll see. That would make it a little bit harder to sell if it's like, hey, I'm building nuclear power plants with mining.
I think when you're thinking about nuclear, you're thinking about how's the place called again in Ukraine? The reactor that exploded.
Yeah,
Chernobyl.
And what happened?
Everyone thinks about Chernobyl or Japan, what happened a few years ago, but those are old reactors. Nowadays, the security protocols and the outer casings of the reactor, it's very great.
I've researched it, but what I've read is that the challenge is that nowadays they can also build really small reactors.
Okay, yeah.
Super efficient and small, but that's a little bit dangerous because if everybody randomly starts building these smaller reactors, it will be harder to monitor certain things
nuclear
related
weapons.
to war. So no, I think, if you look at the math, this is a little bit off topic for a marketing nerd podcast, but if you look at the math, it seems like that there is not really a solution that has anything to do with solar or wind or water, and that nuclear would definitely be interesting. And if at some point we can just torpedo the nuclear into the sun, then I don't think we really have an issue. You know what I mean?
A nuke into the sun, then we have a different issue, man.
No, the sun is so big, it doesn't matter if nuke some, like a few, the sun wouldn't notice anything. So that's just my idea, you know? So, all right, I think that was it in terms of marketing. Still think it's cool to go a little bit back to your story if you're not bored of telling your story so many times.
Let's go.
So this was the marketing nerd part where we talked about marketing. Now we're going to go a little bit into Mitchell's story, which is also quite interesting because most of the time you see that people that succeed had a really shitty childhood and dropped out of high school and were like stabbing people or dealing drugs. But you are not dealing drugs.
No.
Not dealing drugs. I believe it is going to be hard to edit this out, so let's put it in there as a blooper.
Yes.
So you had a little bit of a different upbringing, and you actually went to a good university and all that stuff. So let's get started with your home situation. How did you grow up? What kind of parents? Or what was going on? What were you talking about after the 8 o'clock news, or like when you were sitting at the table at 6 eating your...
So my dad is he's an entrepreneur. He's an importer of car and truck parts. He had a very big distribution center. And as a little boy, I always looked up to my dad. And he always told me, son, if you want to live a good life, then all you need to do is work hard, get good grades, get a good job. I took his advice by heart, and in my teenage years, for sure, I partied a lot. I think that's part of exploring.
Were you playing hockey?
No, rugby.
Rugby, that is different.
Rugby. Of course, I partied, had a good time, but in the back of my mind, I always heard the voice of my dad. He's like, son, just be sure to always keep working hard, get good grades.
Where you were fist pumping and drinking your beers?
Fist pumping. Like... No, more the next day when I was, hungover, waking up in bed, feeling terrible about what I did last night. So this led to the fact that I did get some good grades while I was partying, and this landed me, it resulted in me studying at some really nice universities. I studied at Harvard, studied at UCL, both of them top 10 universities. And at the age of 23, I got my quote-unquote dream job, working for a big tech company in Silicon Valley. And this is a company with 80,000, 100,000 employees worldwide. And in Silicon Valley, they had a massive plot of land with a bunch of different office buildings. And when I entered my office building in the morning, I would see all of these people sitting in cubicles, staring at their screen.
Were they nice cubicles or shitty?
No, super shitty cubicles, man. And they closed the windows during the day, so it was dark in the office. and they were just sitting in their
Typing. Doing the same as you're doing now every day, but
Exactly, yeah.
but at least in Bali. So
At least in Bali, it's a different vibe. And I realized very early on that in corporate America, in most cases, everyone does just enough not to get fired. Even if you're working for one of the top tech companies, they're doing just enough not to get fired. So for me, the way that I wanted to differentiate myself was by going the extra mile. If everyone just did enough, I'm going to over-deliver. So I talked to my boss, my manager, my director, and I told them like, hey, by the way, I've seen this and that. I've got some ideas about it. Could I try out maybe leading this meeting once? Or could I make a little change to this and see if we get better results? And slowly but surely, I managed to pull more and more responsibility and tasks towards myself, to the point that I was leading a team of 40 senior engineers. I was 23, 24 at that time.
software or like
Software engineers, software and hardware combined.
Okay.
Software, hardware engineers, managing a project with around $500 million in funding. We were building the private cloud for that company. So the data center that they were going to run their own software on. And the company started to notice. They were like, all right, oh wow, this guy is over delivering. He's doing 5 to 10 people's jobs in one,
how many hours a day were you working?
How many hours? I woke up 5, 6 a.m. I came back home 11 p.m. 6, 7 days per week. So when my colleagues were chilling at home, I was grinding in the office Saturday night, Sunday night. I really had a clear goal. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. And I did. I made some really nice progress. At one point, the company was paying for my house in Silicon Valley, or an apartment, really nice apartment in one of the most expensive areas, maybe even in the world, San Jose, because everyone in Silicon Valley makes a lot of money, so it inflates all of the prices.
Yeah.
So they were paying for my housing. I had a nice sports car.
Which one?
It was a red Ford Mustang.
Really American.
Yes, living the American dream.
Oh yeah.
At one point, I remember I was scrolling in my lunch break through Instagram, and I was kind of escaping my job. And I saw these couples traveling the world, working from their laptop with a coconut in one hand, with their feet in the water, palm trees in the background. And I'm like, damn, this is what I want. What am I doing here in this office? I worked so hard to get this office job, but it doesn't really make me happy. So I talked to my parents, my friends. They all told me like, man, you are living the dream. If you keep doing this for a few more years, then you're going to become a director, VP, whatever, maybe even CEO of the company one day. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll be good.
Would it have been possible to get equity or shares in the company, you think? Or was that not possible at that time?
Yeah. If you're an employee, you get stock options.
All right. So you already got stock options?
No.
Or you had to stay for like 5 years before it kicks in?
Over time, as you progress through the ladder, you get access to those kind of perks.
Have you ever calculated what would have happened if you would have stayed there until now?
Yeah, the stock didn't perform amazing.
So okay.
It was
Good
it was a dot-com bubble darling. They performed really well in the early 2000s. Now they became like a very slow corporate giant. So even if I would have made a lot of money through stock options and Silicon Valley salary, I would not have been happy. So it still would not have been worth it. And I'm still in touch with some of my older colleagues, and some of them are making between 500K to $1 million per year in Silicon Valley. So that's around the benchmark I could have been at.
Mm-hmm. Zero freedom.
Zero freedom. They're all super trapped. Many of them are unhappy, but they're stuck. They're addicted to the paycheck right now, to the status that a Silicon Valley job gives them. Yeah, I wouldn't be happy there. So at one point I decided to walk into the office of my boss, open the door, told him like, hey, yeah, I've thought about this so much. I called my parents. They called me super stupid and silly for doing this, but I'm going to stop. And he looked at me. He's like, oh, finally. I already imagined you were going to walk into my office one day telling me exactly this, because you don't belong here. You're way too entrepreneurial. You're way too, you don't belong here. So you've got my blessing. Embark on your entrepreneurial journey and make us proud. So I did. I moved to Barcelona. And
why Barcelona?
I just didn't want to be in the Netherlands. I think the Netherlands is super depressing. I want to be somewhere where there's nice weather, palm trees, a beach nearby. Barcelona is like the
tapas.
Tapas make me fat if I'm there for too long. So there would be a reason not to go there, not to stay there for too long. So yeah, I moved to Barcelona. I decided to try this entrepreneurial thing. I tried every single thing: affiliate marketing, drop shipping, trading, you name it. Everything was a total disaster. I saw my savings go from, a few 100K or 100K plus to almost being at rock bottom. Everyone around me told me like, hey dude, you should have just stayed at your previous job. You had everything. Why did you risk it? Yeah. I almost called my old boss to beg him if there was still a spot for me available, because...
That would have been a weird conversation. Hey, I need to come back to make some money to leave again.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I'm not sure how he would react, but anyways, I decided to try something new. I wanted to learn how to make money online. At that time, Facebook groups were really popping, so I created a Facebook group and I called it Digital Nomad Accelerator, because I wanted to become a digital nomad. So what I did in this Facebook group is every single day, Monday to Sunday, I interviewed someone through Facebook Live. And my guest, it started with, a simple guy with a corner shop selling groceries, to slowly over time, millionaires, even billionaires, one billionaire, super interesting people, New York Yankee Hall of Famers. And as I was doing these Facebook Live interviews, in the beginning, Facebook gave a notification to everyone when you did a Facebook Live. So every time I did a Facebook Live, Facebook notified everyone. So people were being pulled into this Facebook group, and it started to trigger the algorithm because the watch time was so extremely high. This Facebook group exploded, went from 0 to 40,000 members in 4 months.
So you accidentally invented podcasting yourself in a Facebook group?
Live streaming, yeah, sort of. It was great. It was a great experience. I suddenly had all of the attention, but still zero money. But that's just when something really interesting happened. One of the people that messaged me was my previous business partner. He told me like, hey, we figured out this system, how to make money through our local version of Amazon. And I think you've got some really great marketing skills. Let's see if we can partner up. At first, I was like, nah, I'm not sure about that. I just came from the US, from Silicon Valley. I want to go back to the US market. Don't want to downgrade myself to the Netherlands.
Understandable.
Yeah. And he was persistent, like every single day. Yo, dude, we should talk.
Voice memos.
Yeah, voice memos weren't a thing yet, but he consistently followed me up. At one point, I was like, all right, dude, let's have this call. Tell me what you're doing, but I'm going to tell you up front, if it's not for me, then please don't bother me ever again. But I'm willing to listen to you. So he comes on this Zoom call. He shows me his dashboard. He refreshes and I see orders, like many different orders. He was making hundreds of euros in passive income through his system. And I was shocked because at that point I was making nothing. So yeah, we decided to partner up. we made an agreement. If we can sell 20 people for a beta group, beta access at 200 euros each, then we will continue our partnership. But if we can't do that, then let's separate. So that same evening, we gave ourselves a 2-week deadline, but it only took us 24 hours to even double the amount of people. So we sold 40 people for $200, super cheap, of course. But at that time, it was our first online money, So we made 8K in 48 hours. And the rest is history. We were one of the first ones. We were one of the first make money online offers in the Netherlands. There wasn't any competition, at least in the new modern way, right? Where you're transparent about how much money you're making, you're showing a bit of your lifestyle. And we sucked up a lot of the market. We were first movers. We were pushing it with ads. I remember spending 80 euros per day on ads. For me, it was a lot. It was 80 euros every single day. But it's profitable. So then my business partner said, but if it's profitable, why not double it? Okay, fuck, $160. But it's still profitable. Okay, let's ramp it up. $500. Still profitable. And we kept on pushing it to the point that we were spending 3,000 euros per day on ads. And in a period where nobody was really advertising. So we were everywhere. Every third video in the Netherlands you saw on YouTube or Facebook was us. And my business partner, he was the face of the company. At one point, he wasn't able to walk around on the streets anymore. In the supermarket, people would point at him or walk behind him through the aisles and like secretly gossip to the person, like, isn't that the guy from the ads? Like, at one point, it got to him that he didn't have any privacy anymore, so we moved to Spain. We expanded the team to the point that we had a nice penthouse office, 25 staff members. Things were going well. Then COVID hit. And in COVID, I had a very big realization that me and my two business partners, we weren't on the same page anymore. My two business partners, I think they earned a certain amount of money, after which they lost their hunger to work more. Whereas I wanted to take the company to the next level. I wanted to 3x, 10x, whatever. And I was willing to dedicate my life to growing this company. So when one of the three business partners wants to work really hard, the other two are done. They basically want to retire, chill, play PlayStation, whatever. It doesn't really work out anymore. So it took me a few months to make a very hard decision again, but I decided to step down, sell my shares. Did an exit, also sold two other spin-off companies, e-commerce brand and a marketing agency. Decided to become a full-time investor. Lost a shit ton of money before finally cracking the code, because investing is a skill that you need to learn. We don't learn it in school, so it's your own responsibility to find mentors and people that can teach you. And then I found out about Bitcoin mining.
Yeah. Funny. I have still two things that I want to touch on. But going back to, you were one of the first that started running ads in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Like, how did that happen? You first started selling on social media to, I guess, your partner's Instagram, maybe your own Instagram. Like, what happened there, step by step? How did you get into, like, hey, ads, and then at some point you figured out the live webinar? Like, what was the process there? Or like,
yeah. I remember this quote from Pablo Picasso, good artists copy, great artists steal. So we're very open and transparent about this. In our journey, we have looked at what is working really well in the US, and we simply copied what was already working. We modeled what was already working. We translated it to Dutch. We gave it our own twist, and it converted. It worked well. But my real confidence came when I had one-on-one coaching from Dan Henry. Do you know Dan Henry?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Dan Henry, at that time, he was the Facebook ads coach. Basically, he had a great system, lots of case studies. I didn't buy his program. My business partners challenged me like, dude, we're making money, we're doing good. Take one-on-one coaching from him. Just invest in 1 hour, $1,000, and download the shit out of him. So yeah, I was on a call with Dan Henry. I asked him a few questions. I showed him a few things. He's like, interesting. Your numbers are good, but change this, change that, and maybe you want to add this. And then our conversions like tripled. And that's when we understood we really had a money-making machine. And I knew every euro I invested in the front end, I would get at least 3 to 5 out in the back.
Yeah.
So my whole goal was just how can I ramp up the ad spend?
And what kind of changes were those? Like landing pages, Facebook settings, Facebook ads pages, copy?
A lot of it had to do with retargeting. It was retargeting with case studies. So when people have seen your webinar, you retarget them for 7 days with case studies. I think that made a very big impact.
Yeah, because you guys had like an email deadline funnel, right? Like after the webinar, it's like 7 days.
7 days, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because that's actually becoming quite popular again nowadays, because it's like, hey, the cost per click goes up, so you want to make sure that you squeeze everything out the first clicker and retarget them with a bunch of content. They don't trust you anymore if they just see one video, one VSL. So it was a lot of with retargeting stuff. That was like a separate campaign that you guys set up.
Yes. 7
days. Yeah, that's also one of the things that you can do nowadays to improve your show-up rate. After they sign up, boom, just show them a bunch of case studies, content pieces, and then the show-up rate is higher because they remember.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right? Okay. And then you were spending, you made back 3 to 4 euros on ad spend.
Every euro we spent.
And you pushed it to like 4K per day.
No, 3K was the
3K.
maximum. After 3K, we saw diminishing returns.
And then you were on Facebook and YouTube already.
Yeah, Facebook and YouTube.
Did you guys try new things to break through that?
Not really, no. That's it. We tried Facebook and YouTube. I didn't really have the expertise to do anything outside of that. At one point, a guy approached us. He's like, yeah, I can do, Snapchat ads, this and that. In the end, we focused on what we knew we were doing really well.
Yeah.
Because again, my philosophy is you can do so many things, but you can also cannibalize your own focus and attention.
Yeah.
So I knew Facebook and YouTube, we nailed it. At one point when you're doing really well, the only thing you need to do is keep doing it. Just keep your focus. We were making 400K to 600K per month in the Netherlands, which was good at the time. We were doing it consistently.
Yeah. That's the hard part, right? Like most people talk about like scaling up, but like staying
staying consistent.
So for the US viewers, like there's 17 million people in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
So doing 400, 500K a month in the Netherlands is as hard as making 2 to 3 million in the US in terms of marketing performance, right?
Yeah.
Because you are refreshing new ads like every week, every month, doing new stuff. Like it was a whole content production machine just to keep it there. Right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. And that's why already to run Facebook and YouTube ads at such a large scale, we basically became a media company. So at one point we were like, all right, if ads bring in the most money, then all we need to do is make more ads.
Yep.
So we split off an internal part of our team. We call it the media team. We had a director, a camera guy, an editor. So each one only did their own job. And then every Monday we had a meeting with the team. And our director, he scanned the whole market, like what are the best ads out there of competitors, because there's a lot of e-com guys out there. What are their best ads? And then he gave us an overview, and then we brainstormed, all right, how can we make our own version of that ad? And every month we did an ads Armageddon, which basically meant that for 3 days in a row, we would record as many different ads as possible, usually resulting in 30 to 50 creatives, videos. And if we had some really well-performing videos already, we would try to make a new version of that with a new pair of clothes or
Gucci,
new background.
Gucci
glasses, different brand, different car, whatever. And that's how we were able to sustain that level of skill in the Netherlands.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just really curious, like, how much farther you guys could have pushed it.
Well, how do you think we could have pushed it further?
I mean, I think you guys could have spent more on ads.
In what way?
Yeah, just doing more creatives.
No, we were really making a lot of creatives.
Yeah,
man.
there must have been something.
I'm talking about 30 to 50 videos, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
also had a
I
lot of
understand.
images, like every event. We had a ton of social proof videos.
Yeah.
So where could we have spent more?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to look at it but I'm just curious because for the context of the viewers and listeners, I've later on did a project with your ex-business partner, and he is just so charismatic.
Yeah, he's a super talented
that
speaker.
he outperforms everybody.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, and I know that like that 150K ad spend per month is kind of like where it starts breaking a little bit, but I also have pushed beyond it. Although I think the market
in the Netherlands?
I think the market now is bigger than before.
What is your limit in the Netherlands?
It depends a little bit, but I would say 300K.
300K. Okay.
Yes, that is doable. But then there's no. The thing is like your profit just goes down a little bit, right? So there's still more profit, but it's less, not as much anymore. It's not linear anymore. And then you also want to do it with a longer term vision because other stuff will convert.
At that point, we were also not trying to make a lot of profit on the core offer.
Yes.
We knew the money was in the upsells
Exactly.
afterwards. So you sell like a 1,500, 2K program in the front. If that can cover all of your ad spend at such a large scale, and you're able to do an upsell for like 20, 30% of those people to your higher ticket program, then becomes interesting.
Yeah, but you are definitely the OG in the Netherlands. So I was copying your shit back in the day a little bit.
Nice.
Anyways, one thing that I found interesting in seeing/following your journey is that at some point you went to Dan Peña's Castle seminar.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, why is he going there alone and not with you were still with your business partners, right?
Yeah.
So I found that a really interesting moment that you decided alone, and for me, it's still on my list to go to Dan Peña one day. You decided alone to go there. Did you ask your business partners if they wanted to go to Dan Peña or?
It's Dan Peña.
Dan Peña.
No, the way that this evolved was whenever I feel stuck in any area of my life, health, business, whatever, happiness, even breathing, I try to find a mentor that can help me to break through, So at that point, I was very stuck at a certain ceiling in my own entrepreneurial growth.
Yeah.
So I went out there on the internet and I couldn't find any more inspiring mentors that had the insane results that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
The only guy that I could find was Dan Peña. Actually, all roads led back to Dan Peña.
Yeah, Dan Lok, these guys. Yeah.
Yes, Jason Capital.
Yeah.
All those guys were mentees from Dan Peña. So Dan Peña had a seminar in close to the airport, I believe close to Gatwick Airport. And I was like, all right, it cost $900. Fuck it, let's go. That's nothing. It's a one-day seminar. And I was sitting there in the audience, and my attention span at seminars isn't really great. I don't know why. I can't sit and listen to someone for...
People just talk really slow, man. It's like
maybe.
Or they don't scream.
That's it. But I really enjoyed his energy. He was out there on stage screaming, like cursing at everyone. I was like, yeah, that's a fun guy. He's like your tough love grandpa, He's like a mix between a drill sergeant and a cute grandpa that wants you to become the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
So at the end of the seminar, he's like, guys, I have an announcement to make. I've retired, but I just came out of retirement and I'm going to do another edition of the Castle seminar. And I was like, all right, let's do this. some of my friends told me already it's going to be a 30K seminar. That's fine. I had the money in my bank account.
Yeah.
So I messaged his assistant and I'm like, yes, I want to enroll for the Castle seminar. And his assistant replies back, sorry, sold out already. Ah, fuck. So 1 month later, there was this voice in my head. I don't know, if you read the book Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill, sometimes you have this infinite intelligence which gives you some insights. The voice in my head said, go to Dan Peña, try again. So I message Dan Peña's assistant. This time I figured I had to do it a different strategy. So I called her. And I'm like, her name is Winneke. Winneke, Mitchell here, I messaged you like 1 month ago. You told me the Castle seminar was sold out. I just wanted to contact you one more time, see if there's any opportunity to go. I know, it's going to be hard. It's very popular, but if you're able to get me into the Castle seminar, I'm going to build you a statue in my living room and I'm going to pray to my statue every day and you're going to be the biggest hero in my life. And she was laughing so hard. She's like, let me see what I can do. That evening I was eating ramen with a friend and Winneke calls me. She's like, you got 30K? Yes, I have it. Okay, you're available next week? Sure. You have a 3-part suit? We can work on it. Okay, here is the payment link, pay, and here's the homework that you need to complete before coming to the Castle seminar. And yeah, I arrived there.
Wait, let's go back there. Did you have a 3-piece suit?
No. I went to Suit Supply, got a custom-made 3-piece suit, especially for that seminar. It was fun.
And the homework was like a bunch of homework.
Homework and a snowflake test. It's on his website. Basically, it's a questionnaire, and it asks like, "What is your biggest achievement in life? What are you the proudest of?" Blah, blah, a bunch of those questions. Basically, that's ammunition that Dan Peña is going to use later in the seminar to basically call everyone pussies. Yes. Because they're thinking too small.
Yes.
So I just remembered the first day he was standing on stage. I had the front row seat, so it was literally screaming in my face, thinking about my biggest, boldest vision in life. And I'm like, all right, I was quite proud. I built an 8-figure company. And I wanted to grow it to a 9-figure company. That was basically the philosophy that I entered the Castle seminar with. And I told that to Dan Peña, and he exploded. He almost like basically wanted to choke and hit me for thinking so small. Yeah. And then I realized that, my 2 business partners, they're amazing. What you mentioned, my ex-business partner, is a super good public speaker, amazing storyteller. But at that point, they were not the 2 people that inspired me to think bigger and do bigger things. In fact, we came to the point that they were holding me back a little bit because I was dragging them with me. I had to do 2 or 3 times as much work. So my biggest insight on day 1 was I need to let go of everything I have built up and connected me with right now to embark on a new adventure and to unlock new layers of growth and success.
That decision happened there, kind of.
Yeah, that's like a seminar high. Super seminar high. Like you're so inspired, the energy is great. And when you have a seminar high, you're able to zoom out and make tough decisions about life that otherwise, because you're so stuck in the day-to-day, you might not be able to make.
Got it. Yeah, that's how I envisioned it happening a little bit. You go to Dan Peña and it's like, what, you're in the Netherlands? What's this small shit?
Yeah. Exactly.
You had a one-on-one conversation with him as well?
Yeah, you get like the opportunity for 1 or 2 one-on-ones with him.
How was that?
We just had a fun chat. I could have I could have prepared and asked him a lot of questions, but I was so unprepared going into this castle seminar. Most of the time,
1 week.
1 week, you know, I just liked Dan Peña's energy, you know,
Yeah.
but actually when you go to the castle seminar, the whole philosophy is what Dan Peña teaches other people is to go to the bank, borrow a ton of money, go into debt and buy up companies, consolidate them,
Yeah.
and sell them to a private equity company or do an IPO, whatever. So I didn't even know that. I just liked Dan Peña's energy. So,
Okay.
yeah.
But
So
you didn't want to do that.
No, I did it. I tried it. So after coming back from the Castle seminar, I basically went on LinkedIn. No, I created a pitch deck. My philosophy was I'm good at marketing. So I want to acquire marketing companies, consolidate them, and sell them to a private equity group or another strategic buyer. So I created this pitch deck, did a bunch of research on the marketing industry, realized it's quite fragmented in the Netherlands and that there's still a lot of marketing agencies.
Yeah.
I went on LinkedIn. I outreached to a few super senior corporate people like the CFO of a Dutch bank, the CTO of Takeaway.com, publicly traded company, the founder or at least the country director of Google Benelux. Like I had super senior people that I pitched and they wanted to get a slice of the action. I promised them you get 1% of the equity if you join me on this mission to achieve that goal.
Yeah.
And they were
Dream
on
team.
board. They were on board.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They were hyped. They were on board. Some of them were even selling me super hard why they should become part of it.
Nice.
Ultimately, this whole business model didn't work for me. Why? Because the marketing industry, the good marketing agencies don't want to sell. They want to play this game themselves. So if you're already really good and you're making millions as an agency, why not use your reputation and money to swallow up other competitors? So they were willing to sell, but against a super high multiple, like 15 or 20 times profit. That's too much. Like Dan Peña's target is 3 to 5 times the yearly profit. And the companies that are willing to sell are the shitty ones that probably have some skeletons in the closet. So I was like, why would I go millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions into debt? I already was a multimillionaire at that point in time. Why would I risk everything that I already built up at that point? Why would I go into debt, have hundreds of team members, staff members of different agencies? Those agencies probably have different cultures and personality types, and some of them probably wouldn't even integrate well, so you would get some internal conflict. Many deals fall because of this, because companies that you're trying to merge are not really capable cultural-wise. So I didn't want to take that risk. In the end, I decided Bitcoin mining.
Hodling.
Bitcoin mining. So if I would follow Dan Peña's path, I would go millions into debt. I would work 100 hours per week. I would have no freedom. I would be a slave of my own company for 7 to 8 years until you do an exit. And I was like, why would I do that? Why? So that's when I discovered Bitcoin mining, because Bitcoin mining works for you. So I did the exact opposite of, instead of working super hard, finding a way to make my money work super hard. And now we're full circle.
Yeah, okay, let's end with a funny question. You don't like the Netherlands, but why the heck did you move to Bali?
For me, Bali is like the game GTA. When I was a teenager...
Bali, come on.
Yes, no, really. Let me explain.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I was addicted to playing video games. My favorite game was GTA. Every time a new version of GTA came out, I was the first one to buy it, and I would probably lock myself up in my room for the next few months to the point that I unlocked everything that I could achieve and do within that map. But what I really liked about GTA is the possibilities are endless. You can go on main missions, side quests, you can hijack a car, drive around, you can buy a house, you can build something. And Bali is like that too, man. If you are focused on your mission, building your company, which is super important, that's like 70, 80% of my time. It's important to focus, you know. If you lack discipline or self-motivation, there's going to be too many distractions. Probably it's not a place for you, but the solution is within yourself. It's not Bali. Bali is not the problem. If you don't have discipline, you need to work on it. But if you have discipline to focus on your main mission, there's so many fun side quests over there. You can, you know, go on a motorbike, you can drive on the beach, you can do wheelies on the beach, you can hike a volcano. If you want to get into real estate, you can build really awesome stuff. There's a billionaire, Russian billionaire out there that basically purchased like a whole village at the beachfront side, and he turned it into one big crypto city, co-working space. There's like 3 different beach clubs that merge into each other. You can fly helicopters. It's like whatever you can imagine, you can do it in Bali. And for me, that's just amazing. I want no limits to my abilities. I feel here in Dubai, I feel very limited. I lived here for 2 years.
Nature.
Nature. Yeah,
Oh,
we've
nature.
got great desert and seas.
Yes. Yeah.
But one thing I don't like about Dubai is if you want to go to the nicest places, you need to plan it ahead of time because they're booked in advance. Or you get a concierge service and you need to tell them like, hey, tonight I want to eat at Oppa or at this or that, and then they can fix the table for you last minute. But I don't like planning. I like planning in my company. I plan a lot. I'm very structured. But in my personal life, I like spontaneous adventures. I want to hop on my motorbike right now. And I know in Bali, there's 20 great restaurants that I don't require a reservation for. And I can just decide at that point in time, yeah, I feel like doing this. And then I do it. So yeah, for me, it's ultimate freedom. It makes me happy. The more happy I am, the more productive I am, the more focused I am. So that's the reason.
Good place to recharge.
Yeah.
All right. That was it.
Amazing, man.
Thanks for having me.
Fun talk. Thank you.